E,
and F.
no, B.
Jack has a cortical visual impairment. He's 7 years old and attends a mainstream first grade. Last year, one of his IEP goals was to recognize letters. He really showed no progress over the course of the year, and at the end of the year conference, we were told that he'd actually regressed slightly. But what we believe is that he was actually guessing at the letters, and that his regression was really more a matter of luck than any actual loss of skill.
Do 4 winners.
Let's start with 3, and then we'll go to 4. So again, start with the coconut off. Coconut off.
F, D, F, A, D.
That's right.
One thing his teachers reported was that Jack often confused X and K. They seemed to think that he could recognize them, but he just couldn't tell them apart. And that made a little bit of sense to us, since the two letters have a similar shape. So I wondered if I made letters look more different from each other, if Jack would have an easier time telling them apart. When I started teaching him the letters A, B, and C, I found that Jack lacked a lot of confidence. I wish I'd collected this video, but he was looking at 2 identical letters, and he was guessing at what letters they might be. And he told me that he'd learned at school that 2 letters might look the same, but really be different. So I had to really teach him that what we needed to do was make the letters look different to him so that he could tell what they were. And after that, he did a lot better. And another thing that happened was when he struggled to distinguish B and C, I told him, the C is open on one side. And I put some more letters up, and then he started asking me, well, is that one open on the side? And I realized I don't think he actually can perceive what it means for the letter to be open on one side, even though it's really obvious to me. And so one thing I stopped doing was trying to describe letters to him. So I don't think we have a common language to describe what things look like, because I think his visual experience is very different from mine. So I just show him the letter, I tell him what it is, and that way whatever process works for him, he can learn what the letter looks like. So we started this video, and Jack had pretty much mastered the letters A through G. And what we're trying to do here is figure out what color the H should be. So we start with the H colored orange, and then he gets confused because we also have the B as orange. So then we turn the H yellow, and then he starts to confuse it with, I think, the E and the A.
H what?
A, B.
A, B?
Yes.
The one in the middle is actually an E. Because you had that right actually before.
A, B, and B.
Yeah, it's H-E-B is the way that one is written.
A,
Okay, we'll press on. I'm getting a little nervous about this, but we'll see. Maybe I'm not sure we got the right color combinations here, but let's just try a few more things. What's that one?
D, A, D.
That's right. Way to go.
Dad!
Dad! High five.
I found my second word with the rap.
Yeah.
We're running an app that I wrote, and I call it Visible Letters. It's running on a Nexus 9 Android tablet. The app lets you choose the size, color, and font of each letter. Mostly what I'm doing is changing the color. So as Jack is confusing the letters E and H, I eventually make all of the E's yellow and all the H's purple. One thing that you'll notice as we go along is when Jack is learning a new letter, he sometimes mixes up letters he's previously learned. One other problem I have is that Jack, I think, is interested in trying to see a bunch of new colors. And so sometimes he'll try to game the system into, like, why don't you add this color in? So what I'll do is try to sort of trick him into showing me that he actually can tell letters apart, or if he has trouble telling letters apart. And that way I can make sure he really needs a new color before I introduce one.
A,
Let's start on the side.
C,
Hmm?
C,
C,
A,
A,
G, E. And there's this flower.
Yeah, mine. Let's look at the letters.
F, Most of them are yellow.
Most of them are yellow. So you said F,
H.
FH,
H.
HH,
D.
D.
Is that one?
Well, I think you're having trouble telling the E's and the H's apart. So do you remember that F, we made the F, what color is the F?
Red.
Red. What is the first letter? Red?
No.
So the first letter is not an F.
And this one's not an F, and this one's not an F.
Yeah, and you read that one as a D. And you got that one correct. So this one is the H. These are E's. So are you having trouble telling these two apart, or did you just forget which was which, or do they look the same?
They look the same.
Okay. Should we turn, let's see.
A.
So here's an AH. Here's BH. Here's CH. DH. Those are both red. EH. FH. Again, both red. And GH. Yeah.
B. F. A. D.
BFAD.
White.
It does look, this is actually an E. It does look a lot like an F. So this is an E and this is an F. They're similar shape, so we make the F red.
Okay. C. E. E. D. B. A. I can't tell those apart because those are both red.
Okay, what do you think they are?
What do I think? F, maybe?
Okay, so that's the H again. So I think we've now reached a point where the H needs to be, you need a new color for the H.
What color? Can you
Well,
now?
let's think about that. Color for the H. So we've tried red, yellow, and orange. We've got purple, blue, and green.
Should we do purple?
Okay.
J and F.
Which is which?
Here we are a week later. I tried adding I, J, and K all at once.
K. K. No smoking sign right there.
That's right.
This is one of the interesting things here. Jack says that the K looks like a no smoking sign to him. This is actually the first time Jack has ever described to me what something looks like. So it's interesting that these two things seem to look similar, but it means you can really pick the K out really quickly.
G and C and G.
C and G, great.
Can A and I.
Great.
E and B. But
Yeah.
they're both red. I can't tell.
Well, let's see. What's the first one?
G. D.
Great. That's actually right.
Edward.
Let's look at these two.
I
Great.
with Edward.
No.
C H.
Okay.
Then the next day, which was yesterday, we added L, M, and N. So here we are today practicing with a 14-letter alphabet. And Jack can handle these sessions for about 15 or 20 minutes at a time. But he's picking up these letters rapidly, and so I'm looking forward to him being able to recognize all 26 letters in maybe another month or two. Then we're going to really start working more on sounding out full words.
D A M.
Those are the right letters, but you want to start on the left, right?
M A P
Do you remember what?
I H M.
So let's look at the. Make sure we're getting it right.
H I M.
Okay.
Oh, start